The question that we've been asked is how do we do tax exempt in uLaw? Sometimes there could be disbursements that could have tax exempt, there could be matter events that can have tax exempt. How do you do that in you? To do that, I'm going to create a brand new contact and I'm going to create two different clients. So let me create a client. This one, let's say it is Jimmy Comler, right? And I'm going to straight go ahead and create a matter for him. And let's create two matters for him. And one is basically, a GST exempt, and one is a PST exempt. So we're going to treat them separately because the two are pretty different. So for the GST exempt, let's make it like an immigration matter. So let's say it is an immigration to Canada, and I'm going to make it an immigration matter. And the default tax rate, is the interesting one. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to settings, and let's choose a province, say British Columbia, which has both GST and PST to demonstrate this example. It's not very different for any other province, but it's easier to show with British Columbia. So in British Columbia, as you see here, the total tax rate is 12%. GST obviously across Canada is 5%, and the provincial tax rate is 7%. So in this case, where the GST is exempt, right, the tax that you need to apply on the matter is 7%. So let me save this, go back to the matter, and when I am in the matter, what I'm going to do is I'm going to click on Immigration Canada, and you see here default tax rate. I'm going to put 7.0% and hit the save. What I've done here is this is the GST exempt that I have created. Okay, now let's say it is work on visa filing. It is, I'm going to make it like a flat rate of $1,000, right? And that way we can show how the GST exempt actually works. Similarly, when you do disbursements, it's the same thing. Let's say you add a new disbursement. Let's say it's paid from general. You can say immigration filing fee, right? And it's say the pre-tax amount is $100. Now you have to say that this is just PST only, right? And similarly you'll do the same thing here. This is what you spent, $100, and you will say PST only, right? And you will hit the save button. So now, as you saw here, we basically made it a 7% tax rate, which is as per the settings, which is your PST rate only, exempting GST. So now, if you actually go ahead and do your invoice, so let me do a pre-bill, you will now clearly see how the uLaw will do the pre-bill. In the pre-bill, it will tell you that it is $7,000, GST is exempt, PST, because it is British Columbia, is $70 to a total of $1,070. Similarly, for the filing fee, it already knows the tax rate of $7, so it calculates it to be $107. Now let's look at the other one. Sometimes there is PST exempt. So how do you do that? So I'm going to create another matter, a new matter, and let me call it, this one is going to be an interesting one. Let's say it's some child, or something like that, where now it's 5%, where the GST is there because it's a federal, let's say it's a federal matter on child abduction policy or something like that, right? Now the GST is actually there, but the PST is exempt. How do you do that, right? Let's now drop in a matter event and see how that looks like. So when you put the 5% here, you'll automatically know, hey, that's the national GST, so that's what it needs to apply. So if I now do court visit, and I make it a flat rate of $1,000, right, and hit the save button, now if I do an invoice pre-bill, it should do the opposite. So I'll do an invoice and a pre-bill, and a preview, and you will now see it's going to be on the opposite, where it says, hey, the taxes are 5%, GST is now $50, PST is now $0. Like, being a unique Canadian product, we are able to customize our software to suit the Canadian practitioners' needs by using Canadian tax code to actually identify what you're trying to achieve as a legal practitioner in your matter. To summarize, in your tax setting, if you set it to 5%, uLaw will assume that this is actually your GST only matter, and if it's set to whatever the other based on Quebec or British Columbia, or even Ontario, if you would set it to 8% in Ontario or 7% in, as I showed you in the other matter, by setting it to 7% for British Columbia, as I showed you in the other matter, you're now saying that this one is GST exempt.